Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now July 24th of 2025, and it's official. The Meghan Markle $100 million deal is over with Netflix. There is going to be no conflict, of course, with all of that. There is no contract expiration. There's no ifs, ands, or buts by Ted Sarandos, Greg Peters, and the board of directors. Meghan Markle is out. There is no continuation of this contract, and it's creating a lot of chaos, both behind the scenes and in the public eye for Meghan Markle, and exactly how she behaved toward Netflix. Well, that's a whole other story that we're going to get into. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle is that, yes, we do know that she's very much self-absorbed, narcissistic, greedy, just insufferable in nature. That's the best way to describe her and to sum her all up. However, when you're looking at what Netflix just did and how they made the right call by not continuing this contract deal with Meghan, with Harry, and of course any affiliation between them and of course the overall deal with Netflix. Now, we already know that this was already coming, right? There were a lot of drama moments going on between herself, Ted Sarandos, Greg Peters. It was way too much for them to handle, to the point that it was creating a lot of chaos over at Netflix HQ. However, this is where things really begin to hit on a new low, even for Meghan Markle, because it just goes to show you how caught up she is within herself and how she has no care for others at all. I mean, are we really that shocked about that? I don't think so. This is where it gets interesting, though, is that we already know that Ted Sarandos is the one that actually played a role in making this ultimate decision, because even for Ted, things were getting too out of control even for himself, even during the reshoots of Season 2. Now, I must be very clear, regardless of this contract expiration and how they are firing Meghan Markle and they're getting rid of her, Season 2 is still a go, alright? This is actually coming out. It's not cancelled, it's not scrapped. This is a go because it was already filmed with some reshoots on the side that are still active right now. So you will see that coming this fall, alright? Now, with Netflix officially ending their $100 million contract deal with Meghan Markle, and how this was ultimately a decision made by both Ted and Greg and the entire board of directors after the ongoing drama related to With Love Meghan Season 2, one significant development going on now involves Meghan Markle's reaction to her recent firing and cancellation from Netflix. Now, it turns out that this decision was made days ago after both Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos convinced half the board of directors to put an end to the contract deal and to not renew it beyond 2025. Now, this created outrage not just from Meghan Markle, but her entire team, where she fired back and blamed Greg Peters, even Ted Sarandos, for convincing the board and multiple, of course, executives to discriminate her and to cancel her contract without reasoning. This comes months after With Love Meghan Season 1 failed at the ratings, and regardless of the contract expiration, Season 2 is still set to air on this platform. In addition to all of this, however, it actually got worse after Meghan Markle and her team had a meeting with not just Ted Sarandos, but also the board of directors, all of them, where Meghan Markle was begging and crying for a future season, or should I say a future one-off project that would go beyond Season 2 of With Love Meghan. Now, since Meghan's firing from Netflix and her contract expiration, she is now reportedly obsessively begging Ted Sarandos to provide her that one-off project down the line over at Netflix. However, the board of directors, after Meghan created chaos at Netflix HQ, they just don't want the drama anymore and they don't want to deal with her. It turns out the reason why Season 2 is still going to air on Netflix is for two reasons. It was already shot, number one, with a series of reshoots happening right now and costing tons of money, and extra tens of millions of dollars. And also, number two, Meghan Markle and her team negotiated with Ted Sarandos and the board to not cancel Season 2. Ted Sarandos also got involved in a heavy argument with Meghan Markle, where she kept obsessively begging him during the Netflix emergency call to undo what they did to change their mind immediately related to the contract expiration. It turns out that Meghan Markle is now all ready and set to go to call out Netflix and expose more drama-driven stories, and wants to share her side of the story as a form of getting back at Netflix after what they did. She also warned the Netflix corporate ladder of taking legal action after they decided to fire her and cancel her contract just 2 months before expiration. To make matters even worse than that, Meghan Markle right now is that this news is not helping her one bit, and other studios are catching on to the drama that happened over at Netflix in the trades. Now guys, let me just say one thing about that. Now, The thing about Meghan Markle is that a lot of studios don't want to deal with a lot of these so-called actresses, right? We're talking about people like Meghan Markle, Rachel Zegler, and many others out there that have got way too caught up in either politics or within themselves as narcissists and really projecting their overall image onto the general public and how they should act or how they should be. Really just goes to show you how this really isn't all about entertainment anymore with these actresses, quote unquote. It's all about them really delivering a message and delivering their own story to kind of change people's minds and how they should live their lives. We already saw how Meghan Markle said, you know, this is how you should be a mother, and this is how you should be a parent, or this is how you should be, you know, engaging in parenthood and all this nonsense. So people don't want to hear anything from Meghan Markle. People don't want to hear anything from a lot of these actors and actresses like Robert De Niro, Rachel Zegler, the list goes on and on. People are just fed up with Hollywood in general. And you know what? Netflix, I think that they made the right call here. But look, they could have done this if they really wanted to. If they wanted to actually just pay the overall price, if they really had to do that, they could have done that months and months ago. Overall, though, in addition to that, in light of all of this, Markle made deals with multiple trades, get this, to make it come across like there were no issues or drama behind the scenes at Netflix in order to protect her image. There is now a growing grudge between Ted and Meghan after her demands toward Ted Sarandos never went down well. Meghan is still involved in reshoots for season 2 until the beginning of August. However, plans for season 3 are now at a full stop and not happening after her recent firing. Now, Netflix was also involved with the trades to actually set up these more lighthearted stories that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Ted and Meghan, that there's no grudge between themselves, there's no beef between these two or anything like that, and that it was all done on good terms. It was all set up by Netflix and Meghan, essentially to really just not really impact the image of Netflix in general, right? And we all know that was just a big, bold lie, coming from Netflix, coming from Meghan Markle, and especially the trades. Interestingly enough, though, we already know that Meghan Markle is on her way to try to actually get on that NBC deal. We talked about this. She wants to obtain that upcoming game show host slot to become a host for a new upcoming game show in 2026. They want to drop this thing, I would say, around the summer to the early fall time frame of 2026. At least that's what NBC executives are shooting for. And she wants in on that. And there's a lot of negotiations going on right now. Who in the world would want Meghan Markle to serve as a host on a game show? I really don't know anybody who would even want to see or listen to any of that nonsense. But overall, Netflix, I think that they made the right call here. Was it done very, very late? Kind of, sort of. I mean, when you look at what they did over the years, especially when you look at what they did throughout 2024, now into 2025, raising rates, getting rid of beloved content, putting on subpar content, and still making all these announcements that, yeah, prices are going to continue to go up, regardless of removing, you know, beloved movies and or TV shows and replacing it with other material that nobody wants to watch. So that's why people are leaving, that's why people are going to other platforms. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this recent Meghan Markle development, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.